Hi, welcome to a special edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. This video was requested. Another Rolling Stones video. Now, I had done a video where I showed the best Rolling Stones live records. I showed over 40 albums. And then some people recently wrote and they said, nah, no good, Alan. We want you to rank them. Man, I've been working on this for like a week, trying to rank these things. It is not easy. Why? Because the Rolling Stones really are multiple different bands. You got the Brian Jones band, you got the Mick Taylor era, and you got the Ronnie Wood era. But there's really more than one era, because you got Ronnie Wood when he first started with the Stones is very different than the latter day post Steel Wheel Stones. So really, in my mind, you got at least four eras of the Rolling Stones. It's not easy to rank all these live albums. So what I have done is I've kind of separated out these archive releases that for me are almost one and done. You watch them once or twice and listen to them and then you file them away, versus what I call the official Rolling Stones live albums. These are the ones that you would go to more and more. I'm going to show you all of the live albums in this video, but let's start off. I don't want it to be too long. Here is my choice, and it's kind of accurate, for the official Rolling Stones live albums. And then after I rank these 20, I will show you all the rest that were not in this ranking. All right, here's my choice for the official Rolling Stones live albums from 1966. Got Live If You Want It. 70, Get Your Yayas Out. 77, Love You Live. 82, Still Life. 91, Flashpoint. 95, Stripped. 1998, No Security. 2004, Live Licks. 2008, Shine a Light. 2011, limited edition, hard to find, The Brussels Affair, 73. 2012, Some Girls Live in Texas, which really is with the DVD. 2012, Charlie Is My Darling, Ireland, 1965. That's from a box set I'm going to show you. Hyde Park Live was in 2013. 2015 was really kind of an archive release, but it wasn't because it was a recent show, and that's Sticky Fingers Live. 2015, Get Your Leads Lungs Out, famous bootleg. They did release that limited edition. I'll talk about that. 2016, Totally Stripped. That's the box set. 2017, Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. That's the CD from the video. 2022, Live at the El Macambo. 2024, Live at the Wiltern. And 2024, also, Welcome to Shepherd's Bush. There is my choice for the 20 official Rolling Stones live albums that I am going to try to rank. And this is not easy to do. So, let's do it. Starting from the bottom at number 20, that is going to be Hyde Park Live. Now, originally it was a digital download, which I paid for and burned. But then they did release it in this big box set. It's a nice set called Sweet Summer Sun, Hyde Park Live. It's a nice set. It is my choice for number 20. And how do I rank things? Well, I rank things in general. No, I always rank them. I rank them by how much I've listened to them and how much of a desire do I pick it up to go listen to it. To me, music is fun to analyze, but at the end of the day, what really counts is how often do you listen to it? When do you want to listen to it? So out of these 20, this is the one I go to the least. Sweet Summer Sun, Hyde Park Live. It does stand out because it's got Doom and Gloom, and it's got Emotional Rescue, which is a really cool. Finally, they played that thing live. I think that's a really cool track. But other than that, not something that I would go to very often. So that's Hyde Park Live, Sweet Summer Sun at number 20. Let's stick this over there. Okay, number 19 might surprise people. I kind of was disappointed with it. And that was the Martin Scorsese film Shine a Light. I went to see it in the theaters when it came out. And I was so pumped because Scorsese with The Last Waltz, and I love Martin Scorsese. I'm like, he loves the Stones, always uses the Stones in his soundtracks. And I thought it was an interesting performance. It must have been incredible if you were there, seeing the Stones at the Beacon Theater. But of course, in the movie, you got all these celebrities and you got all these models in the front. It was kind of cheesy. I give the credit to the Stones. They released two versions of it. There's a single CD version and there's a double CD version. They sound good, But I give them credit because out of all their live albums, this thing might be their rawest. I mean, they really, and it's a movie, so there had to be tons of overdubs. But they really sound loose and raw in it. And that's a good thing, but at the same time, it's not something that I go to very often. This is the single CD version. There is the double CD version. Again, it's not something that I go to very often. It was great having a live version of She Was Hot, really cool. As Tears Go By, great to have a live version of that, as well as Some Girls. Some really cool things on here, for sure. I love the extra discs. You got I'm Free, Little TNA, Shine a Light. You know, Christina Aguilera rocks on it really good. Jack White, fun on Loving Cup. It's just not something that I go back to. And when I listen to it, I'm like, wow, it really is raw. And that sounds really good, but at the same time, it's just not something I go back to. So Shine a Light, for me, all the way down at number 19. Number 18 is going to be another real disappointment for me because this was an incredible tour. The Steel Wheels Tour, I saw him at Shea Stadium multiple nights. It was the biggest show ever by anybody at that time. The Stones were totally different. They were really tight. They were playing stuff they had never played before, as well as stuff they hadn't played in a really, really long time. And it was fantastic. And then they released Flashpoint, and I'm like, man, this is a very sterile live record. It's just not something I go back to. Even when I picked it up initially, I'm like, you know, it just doesn't do that much for me. And the reality is, my favorite part of this album is High Wire. Here's a deluxe edition of this album, by the way, if you never saw this. It comes with a bonus track of rare mixes and extended mixes and collectibles. But my favorite part of this album is High Wire, which was one of two new studio tracks that they released, you know, for this album. But the problem with a live album that you know you don't really love is when you are always listening to the bootlegs. When the bootlegs are better than the official album, you know you got a problem with it. You know, here's a vinyl bootleg. This was terrifying. This is a 3-record bootleg, and I found it much more superior than the official Flashpoint. This was the pay-per-view show, and then of course the Stones actually did release some live stuff. Here's the official archive release from Atlantic City. That's the one that I just showed you the bootleg of, and this is a phenomenal show. And then they released live at the Tokyo Dome, and I prefer either of these over Flashpoint. So that's why Flashpoint down at number 18. Number 17 is going to be Live Licks. And two versions of it. You got the naked top and you got the one with the bikini. The problem with this is they took this from the DVDs. And the problem, to be honest with you, it just doesn't feel like a live album. It just feels like what it is, which is a collection of live tracks. And disc one, you got more of the commercial tracks, and the performances are fine. It's nice to have Angie on there. It's a great version of Gimme Shelter. All the versions are good, and disc two is a more interesting one because you finally get some deep tracks on there. And the performances are really good. It just doesn't flow as a really good live album. It just flows as a collection of tracks. And when you compare it to bootlegs, it just doesn't work as well, in my opinion. It also has a cardinal sin on here. They finally released a live version of Rocks Off, and they edited out a portion of the track that's really important. And they clearly edited it out because it wasn't a good performance of it. Well, then pick another performance. It's just a lazy release, and the artwork is not particularly good either. So Live Licks is down at 17. At number 16, we are going to continue. Very similar story. Saw the Stones in 1981, and it was incredible. Saw them 3 times. 1982, they released the official live album from it, and that's Still Life, American Tour in 1982. And here it is on vinyl, and here's Going to a Go-Go, and here's one of the vinyl releases, and here's another vinyl release. This is a cool one to show. Here's one that's a picture disc, so I got multiple versions. And this is what the Stones looked like on that 81 tour. So a little maybe campy in a way, but they sure sounded great, and they were really jamming. And it was an amazing tour. Long shows, 2+ hours, and lots of really cool cuts. And the official live record, Still Life, you get just a tiny little taste of that tour. And that's what they wanted to release with the live record. But here's Still Life. Opens up with Take the A Train Under My Thumb's good. The versions that are on here are fine. It's just, there's just not enough of the show on there. And the highlight for me is 20 Flight Rock and Going to a Go-Go, which was the single. But there's a problem when they eventually released the full shows, like the Hampton one. Where's the Hampton one? Here's the Hampton Coliseum show, which part of this is on the Still Life. And here's the whole show, and on DVD and on 2 CDs, and it's far superior. I just have no desire to go back and listen to Still Life. And here's the Roundhay Park show from '82, which is a similar tour. This is the European tour, and it's just so far superior to Still Life. So that's why Still Life is all the way down at number 16. Number 15 is an interesting one. The Stones decided to celebrate Sticky Fingers' anniversary, and for the one and only time, they played the full album in its entirety. And they recorded it, and they filmed it, and then eventually they released it as Sticky Fingers Live. And this is a CD version of it. This is actually a bootleg of it. I had this initially. And then they did officially release it right there. Sticky Fingers Live at the Fonda from the Vault. I'm throwing this in even though it's from a Vault because it was a recent show at the time. And it was a good performance. So I got that one at number 15. Problem, of course, is Ronnie Wood just doesn't do the leads like Mick Taylor would. And the other thing that is really strange to me is that they don't play Sticky Fingers in the order of the album. Mick felt there's too many ballads in a row, and he just couldn't keep the momentum with the crowd. I don't know. If you're going to play, in my opinion, the Stones' greatest album, and in fact, my opinion, the greatest album of all time, you play the whole album in the order of it. But Mick felt the crowd couldn't handle it. But it's a good release. That's at number 15. At number 14 is an interesting one. That is from this huge box set called Charlie Is My Darling. This is an expensive box of the movie, and it comes loaded with Blu-ray and DVD and a couple of CDs. And it's not a particularly good movie, and I would not recommend you going out and spending a ton of money on this. But if you do, there is a great CD in here, and it's right there, called The Rolling Stones, Live in England, 1965. And it is a real concert from 1965, as opposed to Got Live If You Want It, which is coming up next. And Got Live If You Want It is heavily overdubbed. It's got some songs that sound like they're live, but they're really not. This is the real deal. And this is a better live record, certainly, than the next one, which is at number 13, Got Live If You Want It. But why do I have Got Live If You Want It ahead of this? Because as good as this CD is that's in here, it's not worth spending all of that money for that one CD, and the rest of this box is kind of nyeh. Got Live If You Want It is not as bad as everybody says it is. Yeah, some of it's not really live. If you're going to get it, you got to get the remastered CD because the original vinyl, which is down here, the original vinyl, which I have somewhere over here, the original vinyl is heavily edited. It actually is missing the introduction. This is the version you want to get. It's got the opening introduction that mentions everybody in the band. And the stuff that is live on here is really good. The stuff that's not, I've Been Loving You Too Long, Fortune Teller, anybody with ears knows that it's heavily, it's the studio tracks where they overdubbed all the screaming. But for its time period, it's not half bad. All right, let's keep going. We are up to number 12. And that is an interesting one. The only one I have in here that's like this, and that's Some Girls Live in Texas 78. This is one of the most unusual Stones tours ever. It was a short show. They were only playing like 90 minutes. And they finally released, this was a filmed concert from Texas. And if you got the deluxe edition of the video, it actually came with the CD. So that's why I'm including it here. I usually consider this more of a DVD. But the Stones were pushing some girls. They did something they never did. Pretty much the whole set is, some girls. They play pretty much the whole album. Liza's not there, but pretty much everything else. And just a couple of classics. They throw in, Sweet Little 16. It's a fun show. They're playing really, really well on this show. Definitely, if you're a Stones fan, you have to have Some Girls live in Texas. It's a really interesting tour, the 78 tour. I remember it well. And, it was hit or miss, man. Some of the shows they were doing were just horrendous. And some of them were great. It was really hit or miss. Here's some bootlegs from it. This is Satisfaction Guaranteed as a bootleg. And recordings from different shows. And you can see they were playing stadiums, but they were acting like a small band. So it didn't always work in the stadium. They got very much mixed reviews. But then when they were on fire, like here in Lexington, Kentucky, and this is a famous bootleg called Lacerated, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal live bootleg. I actually prefer this. They did some King Biscuit Flower Hour shows that year, and they were rip-roaring on those. And one of the most famous ones is the Stones at the Capitol Theater in New Jersey, a club show. And that was a thing called Out on Bail, and then the second release was In Again, Out Again, and here's a bootleg CD of it, the whole show. And this is killer. So feel free to check this one out, like that Some Girls Live in Texas. So 78 tour, hit or miss, but when they were on fire like those, just great. That's that number 12. Number 11, similar story. The movie Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones, one of the all-time great Stones concert films. It was in quadraphonic sound when it first came out, but they never released a live album from the 72 tour, which of course is an incredible tour. And then they finally got around to releasing this thing much, much later, and this was the soundtrack to it. And great cover, great set list. Mick Taylor's in the band, and the band is absolutely amazing on this 72 tour. The problem with this bootleg, it just doesn't sound all that good. It's not a bootleg. This is the official release. It doesn't sound that good. It's a very flat recording. I guess the original multi-tracks are gone, maybe. It just does not sound great, unfortunately. And there's so many great bootlegs from 72, even audience recordings. Here's a classic, Welcome to New York. So when I listen to the Stones in 72, these tend to be the ones I listen to. They're much more exciting than, the official Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones CD. Let's keep going. Number 10 is No Security, and this was from the Bridges to Babylon tour, not the No Security tour. I got 3 different versions of it. Here's the original CD. Here's a Japanese edition of it, which actually adds an extra track of I Just Want to Make Love to You, which is a really good version of it. And then I got this deluxe 3-disc promotional set with interviews and other things in here. So what's the story with No Security? Well, I like it. It's a good, really good listening live album. I like it. It opens up with You Got Me Rockin'. It sounds good. Gimme Shelter's great. What's the problems with it? Memory Motel is one of my favorite songs of all time. And the version on here has got Dave Matthews singing with it. And I'm like, it kills the song. The Stones have still yet to release a really good live version of Memory Motel, except on the archive releases. Karina's okay. Saint of Me and Out of Control are much better on this than on the studio record. I call Out of Control the Latter Day Midnight Rambler. It works unbelievable live. The studio version is good, but the live version is great. No Security, kind of an underrated Stones live record for me, and that is at number 10. At number 9 and number 8 going to go together, and that is Stripped. Also kind of an unusual album. Is it really a live album? Is it not a live album? It's a half a live album. It's half, working out in the studio and playing tracks they haven't played, if ever. But it flows together really well. The Stones were doing Unplugged here. That was really big at the time, but I guess they didn't want to go under the name Unplugged, so they did their own thing. They probably should have done an Unplugged. It would have sold a lot better. I do love Like a Rolling Stone, and it's fun to hear Spider and Fly, and I'm Free, and Not Fade Away is on here, which was the opener of the Voodoo Lounge tour. Shine a Light is good on here. Angie's good. It's not a phenomenal album, but it's a very listenable album, and I like it. Then they did something really cool. They went into their archives, and they released Totally Stripped, which is DVDs of 3 complete shows, which are amazing. The club shows, the Paradiso and Amsterdam and London. And then they have the documentary that they re-edited called Totally Stripped, and then the Brixton Academy show. The DVDs are amazing. The only problem with this box set is that the CD that they released is just okay. You know, they went back and started throwing on the classic songs again. And you don't need to hear these classic songs again when you have all these deep cuts being, released. So I still listen to the stripped CD as opposed to the totally stripped CD, but the box set is great because of the live shows. So we'll throw that up over here as well. So that's Totally Stripped. A great collection. The Stones did a really good job on that box set. That's number 9. Number 8. Number 7, a fairly recent one. I love these club shows, these deeper club shows where the tracks are not what you would expect. And this is a recent one called Welcome to Shepherd's Bush. This is a really good release from Shepherd's Bush. I love the set right there with Respectable, All Down the Line, Some Girls, Melody is great. I Got the Blues, Brand New Car, and Moon is Up. That's a great run right there. Saint Aimee is good. And then even towards the end, instead of, even the Warhorse is a little bit deeper of a Warhorse. This is a really fine release. Welcome to Shepherd's Bush. And, of course, it's a DVD or a Blu-ray and the 2 CDs. Great release. That is at number 7. Even better than that, at number 6 was this one, Live at the Wiltern. Same idea, 2 CDs and a DVD. And this one is even more special because check out the deep cuts on this one. I love this release. You go really deep. Hand to Fate, No Expectations, Stray Cat Blues, Dance. Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. That's How Strong My Love Is. Going to a Go-Go, Through and Through. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? And more. This is a great concert. Live at the Wiltern. That is at number 6 for me. At number 5, this is a tough one to get, and this is where the Stones get me a little upset. They finally released Get Your Leads Lungs Out. This is a legendary Stones bootleg that they officially put out, but you could only get it in the deluxe edition of Sticky Fingers. So this was a download that I got artwork from, and I also have it in the deluxe edition. This is a legendary live show of the Stones from '71 with Mick Taylor, and this is a great performance for sure. Essential if you like the Stones with Mick Taylor. Get Your Leads Lungs Out at number 5. Unfortunately, you can't get it unless you get the Super Deluxe Edition of Sticky Fingers. Good luck finding that. Number 4, similar situation, and that is the legendary Brussels Affair, 1973, with Mick Taylor. This is a legal download that I paid for, and I burned it, and then I got it in the deluxe edition over there of Goat's Head Soup. That's the only place to get this. Why the Stones are not officially releasing these as standalone, I don't understand it, because these are 2 of the best live records they've ever done. Brussels Affair has been a legendary bootleg forever. There's tons of versions of it, nasty music, and it goes on and on. This was my favorite version of it, called Brussels Affair 73, and I played this thing to death. So I don't play this one as much because I already played it on the bootleg versions, countless times. The ironic part is they're different. 2 different shows, and listening to this is very different than listening to this, but it's still phenomenal. And you do get Star on this, which you don't get on this. So an amazing release. Mick Taylor, amazing, the best at that time. And if you like goat's head soup, like I love goat's head soup, that's essential. That is at number 4. Number 3, a recent one. And this was a holy grail for me, and they finally put it out, and it didn't disappoint. I love it to death. And that is Live at the El Mocambo 1977. Lousy artwork, but I'm repeating myself. Why is it so special? Well, Ronnie Wood, this was right when he joined the band. This was 77. He joined in 75. We'll talk about that. But look at the set list at the El Mocambo. This is amazing. You got deep cuts from Black and Blue, deep cuts all over the place. The performances are great. It sounds great. I actually love the mix on this. It sounds big. Some people criticize that it doesn't sound like it's in a little club. I don't care. It's killer. Only problem with this is the artwork was lousy. But Love You Live at the El Mocambo for me is number 3 favorite Stones live records. Number 2 is going to be a little controversial, and I'll tell you the reason why. And the reason why is because Love You Live is a special live record for me. It's my number 2. Love You Live, I first saw the Stones in 75. This was the recordings from, there's like 1 or 2 from 75. It's mostly from 76. And then, of course, you got El Mocambo on side 3 initially. And I'll show you the vinyl. This is a very different Stones. It's very loosey-goosey, very campy. Jagger is very campy. He's not always singing. He's yelling at some points. But I will tell you about Love You Live. It is just so much fun. And I never stop playing it. I still play Love You Live, which is why I have it at number 2. Side 1 and Side 2 are phenomenal. Side 3, El Mocambo, is great. Of course, it's better on El Mocambo now. I'm not a huge fan of Side 4, except Sympathy for the Devil is great. But It's Only Rock and Roll, Brown Sugar, Jumpin' Jack Flash are really not great versions of it. But I'm putting Love You Live at number 2 because I've never stopped playing it. It's just so much fun. Now, it's been supplanted by El Mocambo because that's a better set list and there's more songs on it. But I still listen to Love You Live, number 2. Number 1, nothing comes close to it for me, and that is Get Your Eyes Out, which for me is the greatest Stones live record, and in my opinion, probably the second best live album of all time. You feel like you're at a show. The performances are incredible. The recording is great. Jag is amazing. I love his interludes. Think of Buster Button on my trousers. Hope they don't fall down. And then they go into the next song. And, he talks a lot. Charlie's good tonight, ain't he? Then they go into Hunky Tonk Woman. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to go. And then they go into Street Fighting Man. And then the mark of an exceptional live record, and it's actually pretty rare. But the best live albums do something that other albums don't do, and they have the definitive versions on the live record. And in my opinion, I prefer the version of Stray Cat Blues, Love in Vain for sure. Midnight Rambler doesn't even come close on Let It Bleed to this version. And even Live With Me I think I love better. And even Street Fighting Man I think I prefer in this than the acoustic legendary version from Beggar's Banquet. So Get Your Eyes Out, to me, the most perfect live record. It is absolutely amazing. And here it is on CD, and here is the deluxe box set with extras on there. I only wish they would release a movie, because all of those shows were filmed, and obviously they appear in bits and pieces in Gimme Shelter. Why they haven't released a full-length movie of that tour, I don't know. There's the vinyl of Get Your Got Live if you want it. I showed that earlier. Some other great bootlegs. People are going to say, oh, Get Your Eyes Out, not the best, Live Than You'll Ever Be is better, the famous bootleg. Here's a version of it. Here's another version of it. These are the legendary bootleg that almost forced the Stones' hand to release Get Your Eyes Out. The reality is these are not as good as Get Your Eyes Out. People love to say they are, but they're not. They're mono. They're great performances, but not as good as Get Your Eyes Out. Some other cool bootlegs. Tropical Wind Songs from 73 in Honolulu. Great tours. Here's the Nicaraguan benefit concert. Love the artwork on here. I've showed these in other videos. This is a really cool bootleg. First two I ever had, and I don't have them anymore, but I still have the artwork from them. Charlie Watson, his fabulous Rolling Stones. Who Went to Church This Sunday? This was 1975 tour. Have you seen Keep Standing in the Shadows from 1976? Earl's Court. And then Blind Date, the New Barbarians, Concert for the Blind with the Stones. I have endless Stone stuff. You can see right here. Here's some more of those archive releases. I'm not ranking these. They're really great for what they are, but I call them, you play them once or twice, watch them once or twice, and then you kind of file them away. At least I do. But Havana Moon, there's just tons of these. So these are all fun to get and collect. And every time I get them, I'm like, this was a great tour. The No Security tour. Here's the Voodoo Lounge run. Every time I get them, I'm like, yeah. And then I play them and I watch it, and I'm like, yeah, that is pretty great. But it's not like I go back to them. What didn't I include? I'm not including this one, the Checkerboard Lounge. It's really not a Stones concert. They just jammed with Muddy Waters. On Air is the Stones at the BBC. There's 2 different versions of that. Not really a live concert. The Rock and Roll Circus, I'm not really including that. It's a legendary, film for TV, and the Stones do a couple songs. Here's a cool collection called 50 Years Live. It's fun. And last but not least, Hackney Diamonds. I think this is the 4th version of that, and they released live at the Racket in New York. It's only whatever that is, 6 or 7 songs, whatever it is. It's not really a full-length album, live album, so I'm not including that. There's some other ones. These were legal downloads that I had to buy and burn. Light the Fuse, club show from the Bigger Bang Tour. That's a good one. And then they did release these eventually with the DVDs. So a lot to take in. What was the ranking? Here it is. The Rolling Stones, top 20 live records. Number 1, Get Your Eyes Out. Number 2, Love You Live. Number 3, Live at the Elmo Combo. Number 4, Brussels Affair. Number 5, Get Your Leads Lungs Out. Number 6, Live at the Wiltern. Number 7, Welcome to Shepherd's Bush. 8, Strip. 9, Totally Stripped. 10, No Security. 11, Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. Number 12, Some Girls Live in Texas. 13, Got Live If You Want It. 14, Charlie Is My Darling. Ireland, 1965. Number 15, Sick Your Fingers Live. 16, Still Life. American Tour 82. 17, Live Licks. 18, Flashpoint. 19, Shine a Light. 20, Hyde Park Live, otherwise known as Sweet Summer Sun. Let me know what you think. I covered a lot of ground in 32 minutes, but it's a lot of material. I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me your ranking of the favorite Stones albums, what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. But it's a lot to take in. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. I got a whole Rolling Stones playlist on my channel. I'll send a link of the other Stones live video that I did. And I will see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.